Hey everybody, it's Sunday night, and guess what? Mike and I are in the cabin. And that means only one thing. It's
time for podcast
live on Sunday night here. And we're ready to rock and roll.
You ready?
I'm ready.
Oh, hang on 1 second. I'm getting
I heard feedback from yours.
Yep, we got just a little bit of noise. Let me drop a level here just a little bit.
Yeah, yours was a little hotter than mine.
And we shall proceed.
All right, let me go over here real quick.
Test 1, 2. How's that? Better?
Yes, absolutely better.
All right, I'll be
better.
I'll bring my mic down.
Better.
Okay, here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of the Edinburgh Journal Podcast, everybody. I'm your host, Mike Adams, sitting in the cabin tonight with Dan DeFall. What is going on this October 1st and we're not in the woods?
Because I have no excuse. Well, I do, but I don't.
Too. I wasn't driving up north for one day.
Me neither. We were a little busy. We were a little busy yesterday.
Yeah, we're down at Cabela's.
Cabela's for Deer Nation.
Yeah, doing a little work down there and spreading some good word about some good products and helping people out.
Absolutely. We had some good talks and, it was fun. It's good when we had a seminar when a couple, there isn't a lot of people there. It's just a couple guys so we could ask personal questions, have them ask what they're looking for.
Right on.
We kind of give them the broad view, but then, hey, what are you looking for in particular?
I went outside. You left for the day. I got out of my Cabela shirt and I put on a regular shirt just so when I went back in the store, nobody said, "Hey, where's this at?" Because I had some shopping to do. Bumped into those two guys again, and we sat and we talked for over an hour.
See, that's what happens. That's something you can do. It seems in our community that we're never short of.
No, not at all.
And you weren't even talking hunting eventually.
No, yeah, we got into a lot of other things that got onto a personal level. It was just a really good conversation. But speaking of good conversations, we've been talking Doe Management last week.
Yes, we have.
Charles Byram from Iowa, he put a few questions towards us, and we answered those, but he couldn't watch the show last week because he was busy deer hunting. And that's what we should be doing, but we're not tonight.
No, but we're coming for the people out there on Facebook and tomorrow's podcast. We're in the cabin doing our job.
We are, and we're going to flip the tables tonight. Not literally.
I ain't flipping this table.
But Charles is online. Charles, hey, what's going on? You with us still?
Yeah, still here. How you doing, guys?
Doing good. Well, we're you said you were out hunting last week, so you got to watch the show, but you had some more questions. So let's flip the tables a little bit on us here in the cabin tonight and let you interview us and ask us questions, because you said you had some other things that were on your mind. So, kind of maybe give a little backstory on where you're at, what you're doing out there, and the information you're looking to find out.
Well, I ran into a situation where one of the properties I hunt, there happens to be several does that have triplets and twins, and so my initial question to you was, should I be concentrating on those does that are mass producers? I think my situation might be a little bit different than you guys up there, because I have plenty of food to feed them.
Okay.
On my farmland. I'm not running into a situation where they're eating themselves out of, house and home there.
Right.
So, I just wanted to get into that a little bit, wondering what you guys would do. Should someone like me be concentrating still on just the older, unproducing does? Should I take the ones out that are mass producing? And I was also curious about, what people hunting public land, what should they do when they come across something like that?
Okay.
Seeing all kinds of questions on Facebook here, so
right.
Maybe we could cover some of that kind of stuff.
Okay. Now, where you're at, out in Iowa, I've been through Iowa a good handful of times, and the only thing I know about it, it's flat. There's lots of windmills and a lot of corn. Where you're hunting, I mean, do you have timber, or are you hunting over ag fields? Are you hunting ravines, and little swales? What's your situation?
Yeah.
You're hunting just about a little bit of everything, huh?
Yeah, you got it. You pretty much covered everything right there.
Okay.
Here, it's either beans or corn, and there's some alfalfa fields around. They rotate the corn and beans, so last year's corn is this year's beans.
Okay.
And I could go into any of those bean fields right now and find corn on the ground from last year. That's kind of how much food there is on the ground.
Oh,
Okay.
wow. Okay. Yeah, definitely get some food there.
And I'm looking at like a doe situation of anywhere from 5 to 8 does per buck, depending on the property I'm hunting.
Okay. Do you typically see bucks fighting? Not just sparring, but fighting. Like a dominant buck trying to keep court the does and keep his does and tend them to himself, or is it just kind of like a free for all? Whoever gets what and they go at it.
I think it's mostly a free for all.
Okay.
From what I've noticed, I don't notice the bucks trying to herd the does,
Okay.
and I'm not seeing a lot of late doe.
Like a late fawn
going
drop.
Late.
Okay.
Right.
If I was in that situation, I guess the first thing I would look at would be, my like fawn recruitment from one year to the next. Are your fawns making it through on a fairly consistent basis? And maybe also look at how many does you have in your general hunting area. The one thing that we've learned from QDMA was, they say you should typically take a third of your does every year just to maintain the balance of what you currently have. So if you're,
Right.
If you're seeing, I don't know how many acres you're hunting, but let's just say on your property you're seeing 15 doe, consistently. So that would equate to, a third would be 5. That might sound like a lot, but that's what you're saying.
According to the numbers, you need to take 5
to maintain your balance.
Right.
Just to keep the population in check of where it's at. If the deer or the does are, if they're older does, more than likely they're going to throw other doe fawns. You're going to have more doe fawns, so that number is going to slowly start to creep the other way. And depending on how much hunting pressure you got and how big of the area you're hunting, I would really keep a close eye on that and see, are the doe numbers increasing? Are you seeing a slight uptick in it? Then I'd start hammering them a little harder.
Yeah. They seem to be staying pretty consistent. That's what it's been since I moved here.
Okay. Do you have a lot of hunting pressure around you?
Pardon?
I said, do you have a lot of hunting pressure around you in surrounding properties?
Yeah. When gun season comes around, there'll be quite a bit of hunting pressure.
Okay. What's the mindset out there as far as shooting does? Your neighbors, locally.
People usually, they have no problem taking does from what I've seen.
Okay.
I'm not in an
Good.
area where people really discriminate against what they take.
Okay.
I would like to see them stay away from the young bucks, but
Right.
they.
Well, looking at the surrounding landowners there, is there any cooperation between landowners back and forth? Like sharing information. Say, oh, hey, this year at our camp we're gonna shoot 5 does or 10 does or whatever the number it happens to be, to let them know and then kind of talk around that whole area to kind of figure out where you guys are at.
No, it's been it's mostly farmers, so it isn't really any hunter set up like that.
Okay, so they're just wanting the deer out of there to keep them out of their crop fields.
Exactly.
I got you. Okay, see, it's a whole different dynamic.
Oh yeah, it's huge when you're doing the agricultural thing.
Yeah.
To where you're at and where I'm at.
Right.
Because we're not even close to ag fields.
Yeah, I guess and then looking at another thing that we found out recently, and I'm not sure exactly how they come to these numbers and the way it works, but they talk about the average age of the does that you shoot. If that number starts creeping up above, between 2.5 and 3.5 year old does that you're taking consistently, once that number starts creeping and getting higher, that means that you're shooting a lot of older does. That means that your buck to doe ratio is out of whack. Okay, that you need to take more does. So, and then if you start bringing that down, that number starts to collapse a little bit and get closer to that 2.5 mark. That's about where they want the average age of your doe harvest to be, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So they say
that does make.
They use it as kind of like a guide, just a broad guide to say, where is your general age class that you're trying to take, and that kind of makes sense. You know, if you've got a bunch of older does, that that is going to say you've got a lot of does on the property. If that average age is higher than it is if it's down lower. So, does that make sense?
Right on. Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So, what else you trying to pick our brains for tonight?
Okay, well, I got to thinking about it, and so what's your guys' mindset just starting the season?
As far as taking a doe or letting it stay?
I mean, just in general. Okay, so it's the start of the season. Let's say next weekend is going to be your guys' first time out.
Right.
I heard you right?
Yep.
So are you going out there with the mindset of hunting for does, or are you going to hunt for bucks, or
yes?
are you going to go into the area, right? Are you going to go into the areas though that you know the bucks are at?
Where I'm set up, where I'm set up at, I'm going to be hunting over the edge of a food plot more than likely. That there's a corridor that leads there that's pretty hot right now, and if the wind conditions are right and the situation allows it, then that's where I'm going to be in one of two stands, more than likely. And if not, then I'll have to go. You know, if the weather conditions and wind is not right, then I'll have to go to Plan B. But yeah, I'm going to be an equal opportunity shooter. If it's a shooter buck, I'm setting up for that. But if there's a doe in the area and she presents a shot, yeah, it's going home if I can connect. That's kind of
that's Mike's point of view.
But yours is a whole different ballgame.
Now, my point of view is a whole different ballgame because I'm not allowed to shoot does. So,
right.
As you listened to before, I have some plot fields that I plotted over Labor Day weekend. I hope to be hunting over those.
If there's something there,
If there's something there.
Right.
And then we're just, my daughter's going to be with me, so she's going to be looking to take her first buck. I'll be taking, she'll just have a regular license, so she'll be able to shoot anything from 3 inches or above.
Okay.
I'm looking her to get her first buck.
Right.
Where I'll be looking probably 3 on one side or better. I got that one on camera. I got 2 on camera that probably falls into that category. We'll be both in those areas. So you're hogtied, basically. I'm better than hogtied. Whatever. I can't say on the
doe tied.
Yeah, I'm doe tied. Or if it was that case that I could actually shoot does, I would have no conscience as to first thing I see is going down.
Right.
Because the last couple of years I've been knee deep in does.
Yeah.
And I can't do nothing.
But I will be selective on the does. I'm not just going to go willy-nilly and just start letting arrows fly just because it's a doe. I mean, if it's not the right doe, if it's a young doe, I'm going to let it walk. I'm going to really scrutinize, hopefully, what I'm throwing an arrow at and paying attention. And the reason that we're looking to shoot does during archery season at our place, our browse line right now is sky high. I mean, it's head high. Once our ag fields, or not ag, we don't have ag fields, but our food plots, once those things are browsed down to the dirt, which happened during the summer and we just replanted. Strangely enough, I just got pictures of the food plot, my food plot, sent to me right before the show started. But so we're growing a fall crop, and once they do that and they mow that down, there's nothing really left for them to eat. You know, it's going to be a hard, long winter. So I'm looking to take mouths off the field, so there's more food for the remaining mouths.
Right.
You know, that's kind of that's the reason we're looking at that. Why let if we're looking to shoot, I think our target this year we talked 25 to 30 deer or does, and probably upwards of 30, just to maintain balance. And if we're that's 5 pounds of food a day.
Yep,
is what they eat. So
and we talked about that last week about
do the math.
The 300 pounds of food you can leave till December.
Yeah, that's 300 pounds that the rest of the deer can eat and establish body fat or protein or nutrients to get them through a little longer in the winter.
Exactly, and that's just so another thing on my mindset is because I just had it logged, I'm going to start. First couple of days probably be poking around, is to seeing what's patterns have changed or what's going on. Old spots become new. My typical spot that I'm in is now out for now. But yeah, it'll be a little bit of scouting and putting things into place. I got a tree stand I need to put up.
Okay.
Work on where I'm going to put it.
Okay, I tell you what, we're bumping up on our first break here. Let's take our first break. We come back, Charles. You know, if you got any more questions, you can throw them our way here for the next segment, and then maybe we'll throw a couple back at you a little bit here, and we'll wrap up our conversation on this. So we're going to step outside, and we'll be right back after this. Okay, everybody on the live stream, hang with us.
Hold on, we'll save that section off, but in the meantime, Mike will entertain you.
I am? What am I going to do?
I don't know.
You want me to sing?
Sing like I was before the show.
Oh, gosh.
I was serenading you like you would not believe.
Charles, it's painful back here, let me tell you. One of these days, I'm just going to send them out there.
Right when I started have that interview with you, my daughter just started blowing my phone up. I could barely hear you guys.
Well, I love kids.
I switched the phone portion of my phone off just so we don't blow up the live stream.
Right.
Because we've had that happen here in the live stream before. My dad will call me at night, and all of a sudden, boom, the live stream goes out. And you see me jump up and run behind the camera, you know? So.
And that's what I was doing. She was calling my cell phone that I'm talking to you guys on and hanging up from there and calling the house phone back and forth.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, she's fine. She just got off work, so she's waiting for my wife's on her way to pick her up.
Okay.
All right.
As long as there's no emergencies.
No emergency, we're good.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, no emergency.
Good. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the second segment of the show. We're sitting here talking with Charles out in Iowa, talking about Doe Management. During the commercial break, anything that run through your head, Charles, you want to ask us? Anything else?
Well, you know, another thing that I've been seeing on Facebook is people are putting some deer down, and then they're wondering what to do after the shot. They're wondering, you know, about field dressing, how they should store it. They should try to put it in a cooler, put it in a refrigerator, or what they should do. So I was wondering maybe you guys could answer some of those questions.
Okay. Well, I tell you, right now it's warm here in Michigan. It's 70, 75 degrees today.
Yeah.
So, you know, I haven't looked far enough ahead to see what our temperatures are going to be, but I've already got a cooler. I got a Cabela's Alaskan Guide Series. It's huge. It's 4 foot wide, 2 foot deep. You know, and I don't know the actual, or you know, the from front to back, and then the actual depth of it's deep. But I can put a whole deer in there.
Right, and what for me, being away from the house 8 hours, what I've run into is like early season, like now, I'll be able to hang it for the night or two in the garage, in the barn, hang it from the rafters.
Right.
See what the temperatures, because usually in the barn it stays a lot cooler.
Yeah.
If I can have it in the 40-degree range, a little less is good. But if not, I'm going to run it to the butcher. And I've done that before where I've taken it to the butcher in October, told them I'll be back in November to pick it up,
right,
and stuff like that. But especially with it being warm like this here and probably a little bit warmer out by you, another thing we have that I have to deal with is if I shoot one and I go on the tracking mission, I'm pretty much trying not to let it go overnight.
Right.
And the reason for that is because my friendly coyotes and wolves will be in the neighborhood. And
you don't want to provide a lunch for somebody.
No, I've done that before, and it's not fun. But, yeah, with it being this warm out there, Charles, it's just one of those things after deciding where your shot is and going after it and getting taken care of as soon as possible. I think right now it's a little too warm to do like we do in November.
Right.
Where I can let it hang for a few days before I'm trucking it in.
Yeah, you know, if it's freezing, we got snow on the ground during rifle season, it's going to hang at the, you know, if it's a buck or doe, it doesn't matter, it goes on the buck pole.
Right.
You know, we clean them out there, wash them out, let them hang, and you know, sometimes they'll hang for 3 or 4 or 5 days, and then we'll put them on the vehicle and get them home. I always put mine in the cooler now. I don't like having them on the vehicle. Road grime, you never know what you know is coming off the road, all kinds of garbage. So yeah, that's why I paid the money and got that big cooler, and I shove it in the cooler and throw ice in there and get it home. And if I can't process it, you know, in a timely manner within the day and get it broke down and into a refrigerator, like Danny, I'm the same thing. I hate doing it, but it goes to the butcher. I don't like anybody else, you know, processing my meat, but if I have to, I'm not going to let it spoil. So.
Right, and speaking of that, on the live stream, we do have a comment from Andy Heberhard. He'd rather shoot his does early in the season, and that way he won't be shooting any pregnant does late in the season.
Right. Yeah, you know, that's a great point because At our camp, typically they used to shoot does Thanksgiving weekend. That was the big thing.
Was that you had a Thanksgiving weekend?
Big push to thin the doe herd. And yeah, so you've got bucks running around chasing does, breeding does, and I fully agree with them. You know, those bucks are spending energy and time breeding does that you're going to shoot. And if that's the case, you know, it's to me, it's I don't say it's a waste of time, but it's not productive.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, counterproductive.
Yeah, counterproductive. You know, and like I said too, you fed that deer for an extra 2 months, and now it's going to get shot. You know, why not get that mouth off the field or out of the food plot or out of the woods or whatever earlier, so there's more food. Like, but your situation is different though. You said you've got plenty of food down there, so it's a different mindset. So
right. I'm the same way. I like to try to get it done early myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be cleaning a doe that has a baby in her, really. So.
Right. Well, you know, it depends, you know, what time of the year it is or the season. You know, we did the deer necropsies of Dr. James Kroll up at that club up by us there. You know, the fetuses at that point in time, that's in February. I mean, they're literally, on the live stream, you can see my hand, they're literally, 4 inches.
4 to 6, I think, if I remember right.
4 to
he
6
was measuring
inches.
them out. And
that's the way they tell the gestation of when the actual doe was impregnated. They can get it right down to the day.
They go backwards. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, so they'll weigh them and measure them, and they can tell. And it's pretty cool, so. But yeah, I fully, agree with what Andy's saying there. That makes complete sense to me too. So, but what you got any questions for Charles?
I was just going to ask him with it being this warm out there, do you see your deer moving early in the morning and late at night, or is it a consistent move?
There was a stretch there that we had some real warm weather before season. I was catching them out in the fields right in the middle of the day.
Really?
Even though it's hot out. Yeah, and it really surprised me. But now that it's gotten into the season and it's with this warm weather, it's been, right there first thing in the morning and first thing in the evening.
Okay.
And I've mostly been concentrating on hunting in the evening.
Okay.
That way I'm not scaring deer when I go into the tree stand.
Right.
I've also been trying to stay away from the areas where I want to hunt, the bigger bucks later on, because I don't want to go in there and shoot a doe and then mess it up for when I'm ready to really concentrate on the buck.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I was curious about what your guys' mindset was so far as that went. If you guys actually went in and, went into the same area where you have your hit list bucks or
mm-hmm.
what have you.
Well, it's interesting.
You worry about mucking the area up a little bit.
Well, it's interesting you bring that up. I've talked about that with our camp manager before, and I was like, okay, so you shoot a deer, buck or doe, whatever it is, and you field dress it. Do you field dress it where it lies, or do you pick it up and do you carry it and get it out of the area and field dress it somewhere else?
That was going to be my question.
And we kind of thought this through a little bit last year. It's not so much of a gut pile laying there that it spooks other deer.
A gut pile does not spook a deer.
Yeah, we've not ever seen that. But the thing that I don't want to do is leave a gut pile in the field where I'm hunting, so it brings predators in, because predators then start pushing other deer out. And that's been a conscious choice of ours lately, is to bring the gut piles and get them back out of our hunting areas. And even like during rifle season, we have a dumpster brought in for the garbage. We'll bag them up and throw them in the dumpster. I've done that before, to get rid of a gut pile, and I encourage other people to do that if they can. That way you don't have a gut pile out, you don't have coyotes coming in, you don't have bear coming in where we're at, or bobcat, and we've seen them take fawns down. It happens. That's all part of it. So,
and another thing that happens is, besides a predator, and this is what convinced me to do this, by the way, I did shoot a deer when I could shoot a doe, which is a long time ago, and it dropped within sight of my blind.
Mm-hmm.
And I field dressed it right there. No big deal. Got it out of the woods, blah, blah, blah. The next 2 days, I sat there, and all the ravens and crows and a bald eagle showed up.
Right.
But they created so much noise and havoc in the woods.
Yep.
The deer were on edge the whole time.
Right.
When they're coming through.
Right.
And it was just one of those, I'm never going to do that again.
Right. Right.
It's just like one of those things. It's just, besides, I got the coyotes and the wolves coming around in the area, which I've seen a coyote, and then right in the next half hour, there's a deer there. So they don't scare each other. But it's just that noise and commotion that's happening in the woods that gets the deer's attention.
Sure.
And plus, it was just driving me up a wall
right.
with the noise they were making. But yeah, that's one of the things we're doing now is pulling the gut piles out of the woods.
Okay.
And we'll go dump them somewhere else on the property. That's what we'll do.
Okay. Do you bury them or do you leave them light?
We leave them light, but we just go to one of the corners of the property that we're accessible to and say, okay, we're going to this corner.
You can drive over to the neighbors and throw them over the fence, don't you?
No.
Let him have them.
Right, yeah. It's his
problem,
right?
Up, right?
Right? So,
what's your thought on that, Charles?
Yeah, I'm with you guys on that. I try to get the deer away from, the area as best I can. It depends, too, on the deer. I'm by myself and whatnot.
Sure.
Sometimes I can't always do that. But, like, I did get a doe Friday, and I was able to drag her. She ran a good 50 yards away, luckily up on top of the hill, so I was able to drag her down the other side of the hill.
Right.
And before I gutted her, a good 100 yards away or so at least from the tree stand that I was in.
Right.
Right, and Andy's got a good point here, too, on the live stream. You clean it in the field there and you start dragging it out. By not doing that, you keep the cavity clean while dragging it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Dirt.
It's
dust,
different if it's like if there's snow.
Right.
You roll it on the snow, but if you're dragging it through the leaves and the dirt.
Right. Yeah, typically, evening hits at our camp, we got deer down. Somebody will drive out with a truck.
Right.
Pick them up, bring them back to camp. Field dressed or unfield dressed, either way. But that's kind of the way we roll.
Yep, exactly. So.
But if they're down in the thick, nasty, down in a swamp or something like that.
That's always a fun thing, isn't it?
Then you're like, man, you just want to go ahead and gut it and get some weight out of it and get it out of there.
Get the old 2x4 out and start.
Right. So, but no, that's kind of the way we roll. So.
Yep.
Anything else?
Bringing up the coyote thing, I wanted to give a shout out to my my young cousin, Sarah Emfried. She 12 years old. She's handicapped and in a wheelchair. She was hunting with Building Brighter Dreams.
Okay.
Here in Ottawa, and she took her first deer yesterday.
Right on.
A doe. Yep. Got it with a crossbow. Unfortunately, they weren't able to retrieve it last night, and this morning they found it ate by coyotes.
Oh no.
Ugh.
Right.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
But you know what?
So that was a bummer, but they did find it. They got it, so that was a good deal.
That's awesome. Awesome fortune to be able to get out and get out and have some fun in the outdoors. That is cool. That is way cool.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're running up on our next break here. So, Charles, if you got anything else you want to throw us real quick before we let you go?
No. I think we got everything covered pretty good. I appreciate you guys' time.
Hey, not a problem.
No, anytime.
That's what we're here for. We love having people on the show and talking. And, you brought up some great points and some things that we really not talked a whole lot about. So,
not really.
So that's good. But we appreciate you joining us tonight. We'll let you go, and we're going to take our next break. We come back. We got somebody else we're going to talk to.
Yeah, we're going to give somebody else a shout here and pick their ear.
Okay, all right. We're going to step outside. We'll take a break. We'll be right back. Charles, thanks for joining us, brother.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Hey, man, anytime you come up with any more questions, any time of the season, you let us know when you get to turkey season or anything.
Absolutely.
Will do.
All right, I'll talk to you.
Hit them hard this year, man.
All right, you too. You guys have a great season.
All right, thanks. All right, guys, on the live stream, hang on just a minute.
Give us a second here. Let me get another phone number in here.
And this actually will kind of lead us into
next week's
show.
That's right.
For those of you on the live stream,
just give us a second here.
Make sure you hang around tonight to the end of the show. We're going to talk a little bit about next week's show. We got something special for you. Dial them up.
I'm dialing right now.
Okay, I'm ready. Dialing BR549. For those of you who are as old as I am, you'll get the reference on that. I don't know if Danny. Well, Danny, you're close. You're about the same age there, so.
Yeah, the numbers in the letter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's from Hee-Haw, BR549.
That's why.
Junior Samples.
Yellow.
Mr. Jasa.
What is going on?
Hey, we're on the live stream, so we're rolling right now.
Don't say anything stupid.
That's kind of the point.
Yeah, kind of. That's kind of what we're insinuating. So, hey, if we could pick your brain here for a couple segments, we'll talk a little bit about what you experienced this week, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's get it rolling here. You ready, Danny?
Yes, I'm
okay.
back. All right.
3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. Third segment of the show. We've got another guest on tonight.
Man, we're just rolling in the guests this week.
Who we got, Danny?
We don't have just anybody. We've got the one and only.
The one and only.
The one and only. The man.
The myth.
The legend.
Dan Jasa.
You got it.
Dan, how's it going?
How's it going, guys?
Hey, you sound like you've been on a plane, or you're tired, or you're driving or something. You sound wore out.
Last week was a long week, but I'm sitting out here at my house just hanging out with Emily and getting ready to start the long travel season.
Okay. Well, you've been on a plane. You just got back from Tucson, Arizona, and for those on the live stream who may not know, this has been the big unveil week for PSE Archery. Yeah, they unveiled all their 2018 lineup, and you were part of that.
Yeah, I mean, let's see, I left on Sunday last week. I head out there. We had a couple days of meetings with upper management and just going over bow lines and things like that. And then Wednesday we started the new unveils.
You know, before you go into the new unveils, did I see a picture of you on a motorcycle?
When did you see that?
It was last week. Did you try out a motorcycle?
No, I was at the AIM Expo was in Columbus, and a good friend of mine.
Okay. I thought you went on a track with one of those motorcycles.
A good friend of mine, Greg White, who actually does all the color commentating for the Moto America series, is a good friend of mine, and he actually shoots archery. So cool. He's like, "Hey man, the AIM Expo's in town. Let me get you some tickets and come on down." So I thought a couple hours of.
Okay, I thought you got on the track.
I went down and saw him, so.
Okay, I thought you got on the track on that bike, and I was like, "Oh my lord!"
Well, the pictures you saw were of $1 million motorcycle, so I would not be taking that thing out on the track.
That was $1 million?
Well, that's a one-of-a-kind prototype that Yamaha has that actually Valentino Rossi rode last year in the MotoGP series, and yeah, that motorcycle, if you wanted to lease it for a year, is $1 million.
So that was a 500cc two-stroke.
No, they've changed from the 500 cc's. They're now 994 strokes.
994 strokes. Okay, see that tells you how long I've been out of the motorcycle scene.
That's amazing. All right, so let's get back to what we're here about. Because I was just like,
this is a motorcycle podcast,
Right.
right?
Well, I was just like, you're pretty crazy, dude.
This segment brought to you by Yamaha.
Yeah, right. But anyways, you made it out there to Arizona. You had your meeting, and then Wednesday was the big day, starting of the big days.
Yeah, the big thing we want to do is make the buying experience for the consumer an easier approach whenever they walk into either a pro shop or a box store, just to try to figure out what they want. So we broke our bows down into 4 segments. We have the Vapor series, which is our ultra fast, super high performance bows, which we've been known for a long time. We have our Evolve series, which after the Evolve came out last year, super smooth drawing, really fun to shoot, but still shoots pretty fast. That kind of series of bows. Then we have our Adapt series, so like our Stingers, our Fevers, our mini burners, things that are really, really adjustable, that if someone's just getting into archery and they're going to be growing a lot, you can get them into that, and that bow will adapt to them as they grow. And then obviously our Target series, which we actually unveiled that about a month and a half ago at the ASA Classic and Outdoor Nationals for USA Archery.
Right on. That was The mindset behind that is just basically when a consumer says, okay, I want a hunting bow. I want to be able to go out and hunt. I want something that's got some power. And, you know, I'm 35, 40-year-old man, and I'm done growing. So they can go in and give those specs to either a pro shop or a box store and be able to get into what they need. Is that the mindset?
I mean, there's so many choices out there that being able to say, okay, someone walks in and say, well, I want a new bow. Well, what are you going to do with it? What kind of a shooter are you? I like a smooth drawn bow. We're going to look at the Evolve series. Or if you get someone coming in and says, I want the fastest thing out there, we're going to go to the Vapor series and show them that line of bows.
Okay.
So, and with the Evolve Cam, we've actually got some Evolve Cam bows in both series, just because we've made a module system that is so adjustable that you can have that cam on both series of bows, just depending on which module you want to put on it.
Right on. Now, when you did the unveil up there, I mean, obviously you guys, we could tell you guys were excited, and you know, all this top secret stuff, and the way you were kind of hiding a few bows back in the video, and you just give us a sneak peek. But once you brought these out and you showed them to people, what was the reaction you got from the public? Because I've seen there was thousands of people watching these live streams. So what kind of feedback are you guys getting right away?
I mean, it's been so positive, and I think people are starting to understand that PSE as a company is here for the consumer to give them what they want. We have reps out all over the country, on the road, in shops, talking to people, and every little bit of feedback we get from customers, we take that directly back to the engineers. So we got a meeting in the fall and a meeting in the spring. So this fall we started giving the engineers kind of a direction for this next year. What have we heard? What do people want? What's going to make them want to pick up a PSE and shoot it? So we had a segment of our meeting when we were out there that we told them, hey, these are the trends we're seeing. This is what people are wanting. This is what people are asking for. So we spent half a day just going over new products for the next year so we can kind of give the engineers a direction to go. And then there's a meeting in the spring where they say, okay, this is what you guys told us you wanted, or what the people wanted. Here's the direction we're going, and we can kind of make tweaks from it from there.
Okay. Well, if somebody's to give you a suggestion on something, or they say, I like this and I'd like to see this feature, or whatever it is, and I know it depends a lot on how technical it is, but generally speaking, you know, if it's something simple, if you get somebody to tell you something, let's say after this hunting season, how soon before, if they take it and run with it, would you see that in a product, you know, for sale later?
I mean, I don't know if there's a real specific answer depending on how advanced the request is.
Sure.
I think you're going to see some stuff this next year that just us being out on the road and saying, hey, this is what people are asking for.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see it this next year.
Okay.
I mean, if you look at the Evolve Cam, the Evolve Cam came out last year, so
Mm-hmm.
the technology is fairly new for us as far as doing a binary style cam system, but people were asking for a faster binary. I mean, our binary is faster than basically anyone that's out in the market now, but people wanted that smooth feeling but make it faster. So you saw that this year we came out with the Expedite, which is the Evolve Cam with a real fast module on it. It draws not quite as smooth as the Evolve Cam. It's still real smooth, but it has a little bit more thump to it. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, small tweaks to things you can get that done in 9 months.
Wow.
So,
and the best part of this whole conversation is they're listening to the customer.
Absolutely.
They're not just saying, hey, by the way, you're going to like this.
you're going to take it and like it.
Right.
Yeah. I gotcha.
I'll say, and that's one of the great things about PSE and having an owner that he is truly passionate about archery and bringing the experience that people want. I mean, when you talk to him, you can hear it in his voice that he's wanting to make the best products in the world, and he's shooting them. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
we got out there Sunday, and he's got a ranch and got a couple apartments on his ranch that we stayed in, and we get out there and we pull up and he's outside shooting his bow. So, I mean, it's like we stood out there for 2 or 3 hours talking about bows. How can we make this stuff better? So, I mean, he really does truly live and breathe archery.
Well, I've heard rumors that he's been shooting archery his whole life.
Pretty much.
I mean, he's the man, the myth, the legend.
Yep. And he truly is the man, the myth, the legend, and I mean, he's as old as he is, he still has as much passion for it as I can imagine he's had for his entire life.
Right on.
Right. He's 79, I think.
70, 75.
75?
79, 75. He's in his 70s.
Yes.
We'll put it that way. Now, we saw the unveil this last week. So we saw roughly, 20 bows, roughly, in that category?
Yeah, roughly around there.
Okay.
I don't think it's quite 20, but yeah.
So
pretty close to that.
Now, when somebody asks us about a specific bow, how soon can we tell them that they're going to be able to see these in the shops around the United States?
And a lot of dealers already have them.
No kidding. Already. They've already got them.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So
we started doing something last year called a preview pack. So we don't ever have specifics on what exactly the bows are.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the reps do, but we don't ever give that information out about what exactly the bows are, because as soon as you tell one person, the entire country knows.
Sure.
So we have this preview pack saying, hey, here's kind of the rough scheme of what you're going to get. So then we send that out when the bows get revealed. So
Okay.
I think bows started shipping Friday the week before, so starting Wednesday and Thursday, people started getting their packages of bows.
I gotcha. Okay. So
So,
anybody
I mean,
that's seen something, they want to look at it and they want to shoot it, get a hold of their dealer.
Yep.
Okay.
For your dealer, and if they got a preview pack, they'll have right now they'll have an Expedite, which is our new Speed Demon bow, the Evolve cam system with a 360 foot per second platform. You'll have the React, which is a budget-minded Evolve at $799. You've got the new Stinger. What else was in that pack? There was 5 bows. One of the new Carbons, and then the new Drive.
Okay. Now, somebody that was watching live, I was working all week, and I was trying to watch. You guys went at 3 and 6 o'clock. Guess what time I start? 1 o'clock, and I'm busy till 9. But I managed. I did manage between shows. I was out at the studio, and I was in live streaming. I had the volume down, but I'm watching. But the one thing, somebody said that you all talked about the mini burner, and there's a lot of stuff in it, but I didn't get to see it. What they said that that's going to be a really sharp setup coming this year for shorter draw people, shorter stature, and kids.
Yeah, it's going to be basically coming at like a ready-to-shoot package. I think you're looking at $199 retail price on it. I think the ones we're getting out first are going to be in the 29-pound max draw weight. I'm trying to pull out my binder here so I can look at it.
Okay.
They're going to come in the 29-pound max draw weight. So we've got a 29 and a 40-pound max draw weight, and that one is 16-inch to 26.5-inch draw length.
Okay.
Adjustment on it.
Okay.
It weighs 2.7 pounds. So, I mean, you can get a really, really small kid into it, and that can grow with them till 26.5-inch long draw length.
Right. Well, I remember when we were at Bowfest, we had a young lady there that you were working with, actually, and getting set up on them. Mm-hmm. It's just, it amazes me that they can pack so much into such a small package,
right,
and get our youth started a lot earlier. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, with that cam system is so super adjustable, and being able to get little kids into it, and especially with the mass weight only being 2.7 pounds,
right,
you can put basically anyone into it.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're bumping up here on a third break. Let's step outside, take our last break. We'll come back. We'll kind of wrap up the show. Maybe run through a couple things that Danny and I have been doing here this week, as far as maybe getting some insight from you, Dan. Actually, because I know you were watching the live streams of what we did yesterday.
Right,
So,
and before we go to break, shout out to Trish Ebrenfried. She's chiming in on the live stream.
oh, hey.
She says hello.
Okay. That's the cousin of...
That got her first deer.
Got her first deer.
What we talked about in the previous segment.
All right. So, we want to give a big shout out to Trish. Hey, thanks for tuning in tonight. We're going to step outside. We're going to take our next break. We come back. We'll wrap up the last segment. We'll be right back after this. All right. So, did you watch both the videos yesterday we did from Cabela's?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. All right.
Of course he did. He was
Well, I know
pointing out the who's standing in the back.
That's the first thing I noticed.
Yeah. Yesterday I spent 6 hours in an airport.
Really? Did you really?
I had some time to kill.
A little bit of time on your hands for your phone.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Well, I'm glad we could entertain you.
Gives me something to do while I'm sitting around waiting for a plane.
Right. I hear you.
Okay. Here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome back. Last segment of the show. We're going to make this quick because I know, Dan, you're tired. You've been on the road. Actually, you've been in the air all week, probably, but you've been all the way up in Tucson. So
It's been 85 degrees and sunny, and
you know what I've heard they do out there? I heard they shovel the sunshine. Is that true, Dan? Is that what they do out there?
It was actually fairly nippy at night. I mean, it got down to like 62 degrees at night. It was actually, they told us it was the coolest it had been out there in like 2 or 3 weeks. So we had one day where it was 90, but other than that, it was mid-low 80s the entire time we were out there.
Yeah. You know, we had days here that didn't get to 60.
right.
So, but, you know.
Arizona out there is pretty neat this time of year. I think when we were out there at the ranch, we saw jackrabbits running around. There's, I can't think it's called the Gould quail, I think is what is out there.
Yeah.
I saw some pack of coyotes running around and some javelinas. So,
man, you should have busted out some of them bows, man, and put
You're launching them, man.
Put some.
Well, I was driving the van at the time, so I put the pedal to the metal to try to get one of those havies to take home and eat.
There you go, swerve, thump. Remind me to never let him drive if we go anywhere with him.
Right? Not good.
Well, as you saw yesterday, we did a couple live streams from Cabela's with Chris Schnurr, and he tweaked on Danny's bow last week?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Did the same thing to mine, and worked out a few kinks. So, and the one thing that we played with yesterday, and I talked a little bit about this that I was going to, was the Cabela's Instinct release made by Stan. I tell you what, that it's different. I tell you, it's a different beast. But you use these, don't you, Dan? Am I not mistaken?
Yeah, I don't shoot the Instinct release, but I do shoot Stan releases.
Mm-hmm.
I've been shooting those for, I mean, as long as I've been shooting tournament archery, I've been shooting a Stan. So I've actually the one I shoot now for tournaments, I've been shooting it for probably the last 3 or 4 years, and I never have to change it. It's old faithful for me.
Right. Yeah, it's the one thing, today after Chris did the adjustments to the bow, I was outside all day. I put 100 arrows downrange, tweaking and tuning again, bringing my sight back over. Everything was shooting right after we made those adjustments. And I'm using just a standard regular trigger release. And I found myself thinking about the Stan's release, and I wanted to tweak with my release and shorten up my reach on it just a little bit, which I did. I took 9 turns out of it to make it a little bit shorter. But it feels so different and so good, but yet still I don't want to mess everything up going into hunting season, so I'm going to wait. But
right.
I do see one of those in my future. It's incredible. It's the only way to really describe the way the thing works, with the thumb and the squeeze. It's a different beast. And we had Chris Schnurr on talking about it 3 weeks ago, I think. Yeah, 2 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks ago. But anyway, it's that same style of release. But is this, do you think the industry is heading towards that? I mean, I've not seen such a big swing in releases, for quite some time. And all of a sudden, we're starting to see these things pop up in regular stores.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've always been out there. I think probably Archery Talk and Facebook and things like that is probably starting to make them a little bit more popular.
Okay.
And people are starting to realize you get what you pay for. So you've got the choice when you walk in. It's like you buy it once nice and you're done buying, or you can buy cheap and then it's like, all right, I want to sip up something else, or I want to sip up something else. Next thing you know, you spend as much as you would on the release you finally end up buying. So
right.
I always look at it, you might as well spend the money on the best thing that's out there, because if you get something that's subpar, by the time you shoot it long enough, you're going to want to step up anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So buy once and buy nice.
I see why now. Like I said, it kind of spoiled me yesterday. Took a little getting used to, but
it's smooth.
It is. It's real smooth, and I was amazed at and I'm just firing downrange, aiming at the same spot on the target. It was a bag target with a deer heart.
Right.
And obviously the bow wasn't, the sight picture had moved because of the tweaks we did. But when I walked down to pull the arrows, I'm just aiming at the heart. And all of a sudden, I've got a group that's the size of a quarter. I'm just like, oh my gosh.
Yep.
You know, it changed that much for me. It was amazing.
And it's not so much that it's a handheld release or a thumb release. It's just you get quality components in your hand, and things just work better.
Consistency?
I mean, yeah, it's consistency, and the big thing with triggers is being able to A, adjust the tension, and B, adjust the travel. Because if you get any kind of release that has travel in it, you're going to end up having some kind of anticipation problems, because even though it may feel like it's not moving, you start squeezing the trigger, and all of a sudden you're starting to feel things move, and the release isn't going off.
Right.
Or if you get a release, either a stand or a real nice index finger release that's either a single or dual sear that has no trigger travel to it, you just squeeze and the pressure makes it go off, not the movement that makes it go off.
And that brings your groupings tighter and makes you a more consistent shooter.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So.
And you have to be pretty consistent when you're shooting dots.
That's true. I've heard that.
Just slightly.
You know, and you don't want to get mad on the line either.
You want people to hit the target though,
right? Well, you don't want to get mad at the target or mad at the judge when they call something not in your favor, because you tend to do something you might regret or something.
Somebody's telling stories, I think, Dan.
No, I'm not going to say nothing. I just heard something, but we'll just leave that for offline talk.
Okay. Well,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know you're not going to admit to it. So.
We'll have to stop one night after we're to show her something and have dinner and discuss that.
Right.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're running close to out of time here. But before we let you go, I'm going to give you the pleasure in letting our listeners and viewers here on the live stream know what we've got coming next week. You did something pretty special for me and set something up. So I'm going to give you the honor of saying what we got coming down the pipe.
Yeah, so I talked to Pete while I was out there and told him about what you guys do and what you get, how you guys help me out, and asked him if he'd be willing to just to sit down and talk to you guys for a little bit. So I got a phone call with Pete. Mike interviewed him for a little bit, and anytime you talk to Pete, he'll tell you anything you want to know, and he's more than willing to share, and Pete loves to talk. So I'm sure you had a good interview with him, and I'm actually looking forward to listening to it next week too.
Well, Danny was privy to it. He got to listen to it. I cleaned it up a little bit and packaged it, and he's already listened to it. But I tell you what, I felt like I was sitting around a campfire at deer camp, and I was just hanging on every word that he said. You know, and the man is so full of knowledge.
Yes, he is.
It's just incredible what this guy knows, and you know, he's genuine. He's humble. He's the real deal.
He is.
So, Dan, thank you so much for setting that up for us, and it was truly an honor to be able to sit and talk to Pete Shepley. And we're going to have that interview for you next week, because Danny and I will be up north sitting in tree stands.
Right.
So it's going to be a pre-recorded show, and we spent a half hour talking with Mr. Shepley, and it was truly an honor. So, but you know, it was a great unveiling all week long. We saw a lot of great bows, a lot of great product. And
they're in the stores now, so get out and try them.
Absolutely. And Dan, thanks for joining us tonight, and go get some sleep, buddy. I know you've had a long
guys,
day.
And I'll be in touch soon and come up and see you guys shortly and bring up some new bows for you.
All right, I'd love to shoot them.
We'll be willing and waiting.
All righty. You take care. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, have a good one, guys.
Yep, you too.
All right.
Well, I tell you what, it's been a great show tonight.
It has been.
We talked deer, we've talked bows, we've talked about Pete.
Yep.
You know,
and we talked about them, but next week you're gonna listen to them.
You're gonna get to hear them firsthand. So you know, make sure you tune in next week, because I'll tell you what, I spent over a half hour on the phone talking with them, and it truly is, man. The guy's just got so much information. It's really incredible.
It is, smart guy.
You know, I can't wait to get out to ATA.
And you know
and
what?
see him.
That in the interview, you'll get the reason behind what we just heard from Dan about how they're taking what people tell them, telling their engineers, getting it to the engineers to make for the products for the following year. They're listening to the customers, and you can understand why that is because of Pete's thinking.
Yeah, and he explains that. You know, you hear a lot of that. So, you know, make sure you tune in next week. We're also going to be talking with Chris Schnurr, talking a little bit about coaching and archery. And it's going to really come out of Pete's interview about
Pete's mouth.
Yeah, talking about that, and we're going to expand on that with Chris, who's been working on our bows down at Cabela's for the last couple of weeks. So we're going to wrap up the show. Everything good with you?
I am good. One thing.
What's that?
Everybody, be safe in your tree stands.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got a new harness.
Did you get one?
Yep, I got a brand new tree stand harness.
Be safe out there. Come back alive. If you're going to go hunt alone, tell somebody where you're going.
When you're going to be back.
When you're going to be back.
Yep. Get a travel plan together.
Travel plan. Be careful, everybody. And
send us pictures. Post them on our
right.
Facebook page. Share with us. Tell us the stories. We want to hear about all of it. So, anything else on there before we go?
No, we're just having a conversation. That's right, Tom. Tom Covert says, amen, be safe in your tree.
Alrighty.
Dan and Chris are going back and forth about how I hung up on Dan.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
All right, guys. That'll wrap it up for us this week. Get out there, hit it hard, and as we always say, if you're out on the water or in the woods, be safe and shoot straight. Till next week on the Up North Journal.
All right, everybody.
If anybody's on
live stream, you guys have a good week. Be safe out there. Like I said, be careful climbing up in those trees. Mike's saving off the last of the show. And so...
anything else on there we need to...
Nope. Just Dan and Chris going back and forth.
All right.
All right, Tom. Have a good one.
We're signing out.